Well, first of all, thanks for being here and thanks for waiting on us. We had some little business to take care of in the practice gym and ended up with a really great practice today. I think everybody, through the years, I probably started the same way. I'm excited about this season, but I really am. Those that have covered us, 2 years ago we won a championship, one of the best seasons in the history of our program, followed up by a really tough season that was marred by injuries, but also just us not meeting the expectations we needed to meet. And, the big mantra for us throughout the summer was it was going to be a summer of work and accountability. And we were going to work to get better, and we were going to be accountable for the areas that we could have controlled better to have a better outcome to last season. And first, super proud of our returners. We have 8 returners who took that message and went with it. We had the toughest spring workouts that we've had and then I can remember. And we had one of the toughest summers by just pushing our players to get better. We needed to get better. And again, our returners really took a hold of that. They allowed us to hold them accountable. They allowed us to call them up to be better, and they set the tone. And then we brought in 6 newcomers who wanted to come here for an opportunity for themselves, but also for Charlotte. Moving into the American, knowing it's a big step, knowing we needed to improve. We had 6 newcomers that came in and jumped right into, the same thing, and we're willing to work, and we're willing to be held accountable very quickly. Obviously it's still early and we have a lot of work to do, but I like where we are as a team right now. We have a group that's much deeper than we were a year ago, probably the deepest guard group that I have had during my time here. We're bigger, we're more athletic, we're longer, and probably most importantly, we can shoot the ball a lot better. That was a huge deficiency for us last year, and we improved that by 1, shooting contested shots all summer long, game-like shots. Every shot is contested now. We don't take any open shots because how many of those do you really ultimately get in a game? And also by recruiting, bringing in players. Every player on our roster now can shoot the 3, which is obviously much different from a year ago. So I'm pleased with where we are. Obviously, moving into the American, one of the top women's basketball leagues in the country. We're going from, a league where we're between 12 and 15 rated in the net to a league where it's been 5, 6, 7. So a big jump for us, but that's not our concern, right? We want to go and we want to do well, but we're worried about what Charlotte's doing and how we can improve and we can hold ourselves to the standard, which is the standard to compete, to be our very best. And, if we do that, we hope that good things come in March.
Jeremy? Jason, can you just talk about your experience in Poland, playing for the FIBA World Cup 3-on-3, and just everything about that experience and how it was?
FIBA it's amazing. Poland is amazing. The people were so nice there. I was surprised how nice everybody was. But the 3v3 is a different game, and I think the biggest lesson that I learned in 3v3 that I can definitely bring here is that short-term memory. If you make a mistake in FIBA, that's 1 or 2 seconds. The other point is getting 2 points already. So I just think having that short-term memory and just next play mentality. We preach that here in Charlotte, but FIBA really instilled that in me. Just to have a next play, I can't dwell on anything. I just got to keep moving forward.
Obviously accustomed to scheduling tough non-conferences. This year being different. You mentioned going into the American is one of the premier leagues in college hoops. Just how's the non-conference going to prepare you for what's going to be a tough schedule?
Yeah, you're correct in that. I always like to challenge us in the non-conference. I'm just a believer that the non-conference is certainly a time to win games, but it's also a time to figure out who you are, to find deficiencies early so we can fix those, and to hopefully build confidence. And I think, the schedule this year, obviously we have some tough games. Opening at NC State will be, obviously very tough. Playing Wake Forest again. We have West Virginia over Thanksgiving, and also some really good mid-major teams, very equivalent to us. So it is tough, but I also think, a lot of it is winnable. And we have to be able to build some confidence too with, so many different moving pieces. I said 8 returners versus 6 newcomers. We're still working on chemistry. We're still figuring things out. So I hope that there's a good balance in there. But, ultimately we're trying to prepare ourselves for the American, which is the most important time of the year.
So she had a very young team last year. How big was it having this year under their belt and seeing the growth from this offseason?
Yeah, I think it's huge. I think number one, just the experience that we got. Maybe we didn't have the outcome that we wanted, but we had players playing, way more minutes, different roles, more responsibility than we had anticipated. And while in the short term that's frustrating sometimes because, maybe those kids on paper aren't quite ready, they've learned so much, and you can tell that experience. Nia Young is one that I'll call out right away. She got kind of thrown into the lineup more than we expected, and that experience has really helped her to have a great summer. And she's a way different player today than she was when you all saw her last in end of February, March. And she's just one example. I'm a big believer that, over time, process is the right thing. And, if you just keep chipping away and pouring in, you're going to get better and better and better. And even though, again, we might not have seen it right away, I do think we'll see our fruits of our labor, with also, those players, again, being accountable to know that they could be better. There's one thing about being young, and there's also something about being accountable, that you're not young anymore. It's time to go. You have responsibility. And again, I think we've had a good balance of, having both, and I do think it'll pay off for us in some way, shape, or form this year.
Yeah, Coach, this is the first year that, for quite some time, you haven't had either Jada McMillan or Octavia Wilson on the team. As leaders that you can kind of fall back on, obviously David's up here and she's going to be one of your leaders this year, but maybe who are some others that have been around the team like JC? What are they going to contribute leadership-wise to the team this year?
Yeah, I think obviously we have two great leaders returning in Deja and JC. Those two were part of our leadership group last year, so they've had the opportunity to learn under some really great leaders, and then also bring their own leadership style. I don't need Deja to be Octavia or Jada. I need Deja to be Deja. I need JC to be JC, and I think both of them understand that. The three of us did some leadership training over the summer, spent a lot of time together of, what does leadership look like? What does it sound like? How do you lead by example? How do you lead vocally? And I think we all really grew in that. I think they grew from the training, but I grew from understanding and learning them and what they need from me, and how they're able to lead. So I think that was really fruitful time for us, but I have all the confidence in the world in both of them. They're both ready to step up and lead this team. I would say in addition to that, one of somebody that's really stood out is Tamia Davis. She's using her COVID year, 5th year. She's been in the program now several years. And, it's just when it becomes your last year, it's just a different feeling. It's hard to describe if you've never been in it, but you just feel different. The urgency is there, and just the way that she's utilized her voice, the reminders she gives, the way that she's helping some of our newcomers and younger players, I've been really impressed with what she's done.
Question for both of you guys. Coach, you mentioned how with more spacers, everyone on the team can shoot. Deja, how does that help your game, knowing that you have this increased space and the paint may be more open? And then for Coach, how does that help with off-ball movement, trying to draw, plays for people that can get open for?
I think for me, if you know my game, I like to get downhill, so to attack. So I think for me, if I'm able to get downhill, I'm able to kick it out more, and just share the ball a lot more. And I don't have to consistently try to make plays. I have teammates now that are willing to shoot the ball, that are willing to make plays and create for themselves. So I think it just opened up the floor a lot for just individual players and not just for me.
Yeah, I think we're going to be able to see better ball movement. We're going to share the ball. Hopefully our assists will go up some, because I do think, we were very stagnant last year in terms of, what our options were offensively. And I don't think we were very hard to guard, which is a problem. So, all that went into being very strategic about who we brought in, what we attacked in the offseason. And I do feel like all of that has improved, and it does give us a lot more options. I mean, obviously, Deja is always going to be a number one option offensively because of, the way she's prepared herself and proven herself, but it doesn't have to be her, right? And now defenses are going to have to choose. If they're going to bring help, we got players that can knock that down, and if they're not going to bring help, I'd like to know if there's a better one-on-one player in the American than Deja.
Coach, another one. Last Tuesday we spoke. We talked about giving the newcomers sort of some freedom in the beginning so that they don't feel pressured to play one type of style. Can you just elaborate on that?
Yeah, two things I don't worry about early are shot selection and turnovers, which is kind of crazy coming from a point guard myself. But I don't want kids worrying about that in the beginning. I do want them to play freely. I do want to play fast. Like I said earlier, we're the deepest we've been in guards, in our guards in a while. We need to play fast because we have the ability to sub a lot more. And I think if you're worried about turnovers early, it just stifles you. It makes kids think more than play. And I want thinkers at times, but I really want kids that can make plays. And so just giving the freedom to do that. Again, shot selection, we will rein in at some point. But same thing, I don't want them thinking too much in the beginning. I want them to be able to play. I want them to learn each other. And I also want them to gain some confidence, that we believe in them and we're not saying, stop, 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 or that's not a good shot right now.
Coach, you mentioned the depth, in the backcourt, but who are some returners or even some newcomers that are going to really make a defending front court?
Well, that is an area of concern, I'll be honest with you. I still wish we had maybe one or two additional players in that area. We are banged up a little bit in the post. But, we have talent. So if we can keep that talent healthy, we'll be in a good spot. Tracy Houston had an outstanding summer. Probably made maybe the most stride of any returner on our roster. And I think you guys are going to really enjoy seeing her. Last year was difficult being a transfer, trying to learn a lot. She had a lot of undisclosed injuries that kept her in and out of the lineup. She was playing not 100%. And, she had a minor setback, so she's not full go right now, but we're anticipating her to be full go. And I think, she understands the system. She knows what we need from her. And I think she has the ability to really impact us, in the post area.
Coach, Grace Girl, Fox Charlotte. I'm from Memphis.
Hi, Grace.
You said you returned 8 starters or 8 players coming back, but when you go from a different conference, does your system that you had work, or what did you change in the offseason in your system to make that work and be successful in America now?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, we believe in what we do. We believe in our system, and I believe it can work at any level. I think some of that's proven that one of my assistants is the head coach for the Atlanta Dream in the WNBA and is doing pretty well. So, we believe in what we do. And so there hasn't been a lot of changes in terms of the system. I think most of our changes have been in terms of our personnel, right? And looking at that league and what does that league look like? We did a lot of studying of the American, in the year that we knew we were going in. We did scouts on every single team. What do they look like? Where are we deficient? Where do we need to get better? Size was an issue. We've worked on that. We're bigger, we're longer, we're more athletic. The ability to shoot the ball was an issue. We've worked on that. So it's been more tweaking our skill, tweaking our personnel. But in terms of what we do, we believe in that, and we believe it'll be successful in the American.
Hannah?
For Deja, what's the excitement been in the locker room for all these players that your teammates were moving into the American in that bigger stage?
Yeah, one, we love each other. So I just think us showing up every day for each other, that's just exciting. But we're all ready just to play. We coming off a rough season, so now that we have a lot of new pieces, a lot of new faces, we're just excited to finally play on that hardwood together and show what Charlotte's been cooking up all summer.
Going off that question for both of you guys again, Coach, last year you talked about how you offered Deja in 9th grade. Can you just talk about your relationship, both of you guys, and how cultivating those relationships helped with recruiting you guys want to be a Charlotte for that?
You can go.
So, yeah, we started watching Deja very early. I think you moved here in 7th grade?
6th grade.
6th grade. Okay, so we started to hear about her and obviously had seen her a lot. We offered her early and then had to kind of weather the storm of, is a Power 5 going to come and snatch her, or are we going to get her? We were really fortunate to hold on to her. And, I think our relationship started early because Deja, those that don't know Deja's path, it has not been easy. She's been through a lot of injuries, starting from high school. And I think, there's a lot of schools that gave up on her because of that, but we didn't. And so very early on, we tried to establish that we believe in you and we're going to get you healthy. We took care of her early in terms of kind of helping with some of the medical, our doctors helping with surgery and things of that nature. So I think we established that early. But, with any player, there's been ups and downs. It hasn't always been perfect. I can be an emotional coach and Deja can be an emotional player. So it's not always been sunshine and daisies between us. But, I was telling her when she was over in Poland, we were texting a lot, and I just said, I'm so thankful for the journey that we've had as player and coach, because it has been up and down at times because of who we both are and our personality, and that makes me cherish it so much more. Like we've been able to, establish that belief and then go through some rocky times together and then come back on the other side and, there's nobody I'd rather have on my team than Deja. I believe in her. I love coaching her. I love the journey and the growth that she's had, and I'm going to have her back, forever. And I just really cherish that.
Everything she said, and just knowing the things that we've been through, I'm willing to go on the court and give Coach Carey 110% just because I know I'll get that same in return from just coaching, the advice that she gives. Like she said, we've had a rocky relationship, but we've been able to grow through that and become a great team that we are now. So I'm just grateful for the journey that we've had. I don't think we'll be as close if we didn't go through what we went through. So everything she said, I'm just grateful for her and the staff for believing in me as they've been doing since I was going through injuries in high school. They've always had my back, and I'm really big on loyalty. So them showing me their loyalty really opened my eyes to this is where I need to be. This is family, and we've been rocking ever since.
Nice to meet you. I'm Angel Maldonado. I know you said you have many newcomers coming in, and one of those included Jewel Watkins. How do you plan on implementing her into the lineup, especially with her three-point ability and also her ability to get boards and steals on the defensive side?
Yeah, that's a great newcomer to point out. As soon as Jewel was in the portal, we went after her right away. We were familiar with her game from her time at Coppin State. We played against her. We just felt like she was a perfect addition for what we do here at Charlotte. And she's done an outstanding job. It's kind of funny. Early, we were trying to figure out how Jewel and Deja would play together because they do have a lot of similarities. I mean, she can really shoot the three, but I also feel like at Coppin, I don't want to say she was limited, but they wanted her to shoot the three a lot. We're here, we want her to be a three-level scorer because she's capable of that. And, Deja's a really great player with the ball in the hands. Jewel's a really great player with the ball in her hands. So getting those two on the same page has been kind of one of our priorities of the summer, and I think it's coming along very nicely. And Jewel is learning how to play as a number one option and as a number 2, 3, 4 option. And so that's what I think I love about her. She's super coachable. She's also a two-way player. Jewel has the ability to be our best defender. And that's saying a lot because I got a really good defender next to me and a couple other really good ones, but she has that ability. So I think she can, she's going to be able to affect our team in so many ways, and certainly one to look out for. Thank you.